Hey everyone, Marco here, and the Steam Couch Co-op sale is now live. So if you're one of the lucky few to have friends or loved ones who are within arm's reach of you and that they enjoy gaming, well then stay tuned as I'll be giving you 16 of my favorite games that you might have missed. In this video, you'll find side-scrolling beat-em-ups, party games, tower defense jams, and other games that will either bring you closer together or drive you further apart. So let's get started. So first on the list, we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, a side-scrolling beat-em-up for those who grew up yelling cowabunga, or maybe you just love old school arcade action. And yes, I know there are some newer ones out, but this one was just my favorite. I mean, I love the pixelated graphics, it really gives you that retro feel, same goes with that banger soundtrack, and of course it is just so much fun with couch co-op. You can pull off these team combos, you can revive each other with pizza, and what's really cool is that each turtle can pull off their own unique moves that are just also slick, and the gameplay is just so fast and fluid. Man, this game is a blast. So if you're into retro vibes, couch co-op madness, and bodacious ninja action, then definitely check out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge today. Next on the list, we've got DYSMANTLE, a survival action RPG for those who love breaking stuff, crafting gear, and thriving in the apocalypse instead of just scraping by. You wake up after years underground to find a world overrun with monsters, but lucky for you, almost everything is destructible, and that's where the fun begins. Co-op makes this so much better though. You get to explore, hunt, build, and demolish entire towns together. It's an open world playground of crafting, farming, puzzle solving, and fishing, all while trying to escape the island. And with permanent upgrades, you're always getting stronger, not just surviving, and the latest DLC adds in tons of content too. So if you love smashing, looting, and building your own slice of post-apocalyptic paradise with a friend, then yeah, maybe check out DYSMANTLE today. Next on the list, we've got PICO, and this is for anyone who thinks friendship is unbreakable until it's tested by chaotic co-op puzzles. This minimalist multiplayer puzzle platformer is all about teamwork, communication, and inevitable betrayal. You and up to 7 friends control tiny, adorable cats working together to solve increasingly tricky levels. It sounds simple, right? Wrong. Whether it's stacking, timing jumps, or dealing with a rogue player who won't stop messing things up, every stage turns into organized, or not so organized, chaos. But obviously the game shines in both local and online multiplayer, ensuring that even long-distance friendships can be pushed to the limit. It starts off easy, luring you into a false sense of security, but later levels require actual coordination, or at least a lot of yelling. And yes, the sequel is out, but this one's on sale, and actually both are so cheap. So if you love games that are equal parts fun and frustrating, PICO is an absolute must-play. Then next on the list, we've got Ship of Fools, which is this chaotic co-op roguelite for those who think braving the high seas with a buddy sounds like a great idea, until the Kraken arrives. You and your crewmates are the ones foolish enough to take on the aquapocalypse, so you need to load the cannons, patch the hull, and fight off massive sea monsters in this frantic wave-crashing combat. Co-op is where the game shines though. You team up to fire off combos, repair your ship mid-battle, and then navigate the ever-changing ocean full of treasure, upgrades, and peril. Every run here is unpredictable, with new trinkets, islands, and boss fights keeping you on your toes. So if you love roguelite action, stunning hand-drawn art, and the thrill of barely surviving a naval disaster with your best mates, then maybe try out Ship of Fools today. Then next on the list we've got Heavenly Bodies, which is this physics-based co-op puzzler for those who think operating delicate space equipment with wobbly astronaut arms sounds like a fun time. Which it is. In this zero-gravity adventure, you and your friend will push, pull, and flail your way through complex space tasks, like from fixing solar panels to assembling telescopes, all while fighting the chaos of weightlessness. Co-op is equal parts fun and frustrating though, so expect plenty of accidental slaps, lost tools, and panic scrambling as you both struggle to keep things under control. The visuals here just really add a nice touch to the game, which is a bit like Octodad in space. So if you love clever physics puzzles, co-op chaos, and the joy of barely holding it together, then maybe check out Heavenly Bodies today. Then next on the list, we've got PlateUp, which is this frantic co-op cooking roguelite that'll test your friendships as much as your culinary skills. Think Overcooked, but with a side of restaurant management and permanent progression. You and up to 3 friends will cook, serve, and expand your dream restaurant, but just try not to burn it down in the process. Why is it so fun? Well, because every shift is controlled chaos. Customers pile in, dishes pile up, and somehow you need to keep everything running smoothly. The best part though is that you can automate your kitchen with conveyors, turbo ovens, and other high-tech gadgets to create the ultimate food factory. Or you can just embrace the chaos and wing it. It's all up to you. This game really doesn't take itself too seriously, but if you love cooking games, strategy, and a little bit of madness, then definitely check out PlateUp today. Next on the list, this was actually recommended by one of my friends in the Discord channel. It's X-Morph Defense, which is this tower defense game where you are the invader. That's right, forget about saving Earth, because this time you're the one dropping in to strip the planet of its resources. What makes it so special though is that it's a hybrid of classic tower defense and bullet hell shooter. You don't just place turrets and hope for the best. You jump into battle, piloting an alien ship with 4 brutal weapons, switching between attack mode and ghost mode to dominate the battlefield. Plus, your towers aren't there just to deal damage. They can also form laser fences to create deadly mazes, funneling enemies straight into the meat grinder. The human resistance isn't going down easy though. You'll face tanks, jets, APCs, and even massive boss battles that will bring a touch of bullet hell chaos here. And of course, there's that split screen co-op that you and a friend can then divide and conquer together, one managing the defense while the other goes full alien Rambo. So if you love tower defense but you wish you could get in on the action, then maybe check out X-Morph Defense today. Now next on the list, we've got Gears 5 from the popular Gears of War franchise. This is a cover-based shooter with chunky gunplay, explosive set pieces, and a surprisingly deep story, especially if you're into chainsawing through alien hordes with a machine gun. So let's break it down. The campaign is a solid experience, whether you're a long-time Gears fan or jumping in fresh like I did. The combat is intense with a good mix of enemy types and plenty of fun ways to take them down. Plus the visuals are incredible, especially for its time, and the soundtrack perfectly complements the game's more cinematic moments, especially when cruising around on that skiff. And the story, it's, well, surprisingly compelling, even if you're not well versed in the Gears lore. Yes, it might not be the best Gears of War around, but I played it with my girlfriend and loved the whole thing from beginning to end. So yeah, the couch co-op really works here, and I never had any issues with it. So whether you're a veteran COG soldier or a total newbie, Gears 5 delivers a spectacular and engaging ride. Next up, we've got Jackbox, the ultimate party game franchise that's been fueling game nights, family gatherings, and chaotic online hangouts for years. If you've never played a Jackbox game, here's the deal. There's no controllers, there's no complicated setups, just grab your phone, tablet, or computer and you're in. Each pack is a mix of trivia, drawing, wordplay, and improv style games that can turn even the quietest friend into a comedy superstar, or I guess a ruthless competitor. And now they've got like 10 titles out. The latest one isn't the best, but I think we can all agree that 7 is a banger, with number 3 coming a close second. Honestly, these games never get old. And it's just so great when you want to connect with friends, not just on the couch, but maybe over an online call, which is so highly recommended. With up to 8 players and an audience of 10,000, Jackbox is a go-to for parties, streaming, or just filling the awkward silence on a Zoom call. So maybe check it out if that sounds right up your alley. Next up, we've got UFO 50, the ultimate retro-inspired game collection that feels like discovering a lost NES library from an alternate timeline. If you've ever dreamed of stumbling upon a long-forgotten stack of 80s classics, this is your jackpot. Except these games were made just for this collection, blending old-school aesthetics with modern game design. With 50 full-fledged games spanning platformers, shoot-em-ups, puzzle games, roguelites, RPGs, and more, this isn't just a collection of mini-games. Each title is a complete experience from intro screen to credits. Some are quick hits arcade thrills, while others are massive adventures, including a full JRPG. But let's talk about co-op here. Nearly half the games feature local multiplayer, whether it's teaming up to take down arcade-style challenges or going head-to-head in competitive brawlers and strategy games. This makes it an absolute must-have for game nights, bringing that classic pass-the-controller energy into the modern era. So if you love indie games, classic 8-bit nostalgia, or you just want a never-ending supply of fun, then UFO 50 could just be your next instant classic. Next on the list, we've got Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and this is for anyone who loves charming platformers, chaotic co-op, and the sheer determination of a tiny stitched hero. In the game, you play as Sackboy in this big-hearted 3D platformer where you can go solo or team up with up to 3 friends to run, jump, and roll through the whimsical world of Craftworld. Your mission here is to stop the dastardly Vex and his topsy-turvy device from turning everything into a nightmare. The game starts off adorably easy, tricking you into thinking it's a chilled experience, until the late game where the levels smack you with precision platforming that will really test your reflexes. And yes, if you're looking for a really good couch co-op experience, this one's got you covered. I guess my only complaint here is that we have this instead of another Little Big Planet, one game I used to sink hours into, but you know what, it's still a great game to play. Whether you're tackling tricky puzzles, racing through colorful worlds, or just accidentally throwing your friend off a ledge, yeah, we've all been there, Sackboy: A Big Adventure is pure wholesome chaos and definitely a game to check out. Next on the list, we've got a new game called Big Helmet Heroes, a charming and action-packed 3D beat-em-up that delivers both cartoonish chaos and surprisingly deep combat. Who's it for? Well, I guess anyone who loves light-hearted brawlers, couch co-op shenanigans, and nights that look like they belong in a Saturday morning cartoon. The game throws you into a cinematic adventure filled with goofy yet epic battles, colorful environments, and movie-quality animations. Whether you're charging in solo or teaming up in 2-player co-op, your mission is simple: rescue the princess and uncover whatever ridiculous surprises the game throws at you next. The combat is pretty cool here too. You get to choose from 4 distinct fighting styles: the warrior, the brute, the rogue, and the monk. With local co-op gameplay, vibrant worlds, and hilarious cutscenes, Big Helmet Heroes brings plenty of personality to the genre. It's the kind of game you'd pick up for a quick session or grind through for hours, unlocking cool weapons and perfecting your combat style. So yeah, maybe check it out if that sounds like your jam. Next on the list, we've got Magicka 2, which is this chaotic wizard simulator that asks, hey, what if casting spells required both brains and reckless disregard for your friend's safety? What do I mean by that? Well, you're going to be running around with your friends, creating your own magical spells using different combination of the elements, which requires some thinking, but when pulled off correctly, you can go from creating these standard fireballs to these massive monstrosity death balls that kill everything on sight. This game is for anyone who loves co-op mayhem, unpredictable magic, and constantly setting your teammates on fire by accident. Because yeah, friendly fire is always on. That means healing spells will often miss, shields will block teammates more often than enemies, and someone will panic and accidentally explode the entire party. Yeah, that's always me. Honestly, not a lot of people know about this game, but it is so much fun, especially when you don't know what you're doing and you're just creating all the shenanigans. So yeah, really check out Magicka 2 if you love this kind of magical chaos. Then next on the list, we've got Cat Quest 2, the perfectly adorable action RPG where feline finesse meets canine courage. Who's it for? Well, anyone who loves open world adventures, light-hearted fantasy, and an unhealthy amount of cat and dog puns. In this game, the war between cats and dogs rages on, and it's up to 2 royal misfits, a cat and a dog, to reclaim their thrones. Whether you play solo, switching between characters, or in local co-op mode, you'll explore a magic-filled world, claw through dungeons, and battle enemies in real-time combat. This game expands on the original with new weapon types such as swords, staves, and more. with extra spells and customizable passive abilities that let you tailor your playstyle. The game's filled with side quests, charming NPCs, and a lighthearted story that doesn't take itself too seriously, except when it comes to the number of cat puns. And yes, there is a third one available, but I don't know, the second one just hits a little bit different, so maybe start with the second and then go to the third after that. So whether you're in it for the loot, the spells, or just an excuse to yell "formidable fighter," Cat Quest is a game that delivers a delightful cat venture from start to finish. Then next on the list we've got Portal 2, which I just had to include, and this is just for anyone who enjoys mind-bending puzzles, sarcastic AIs, and accidentally launching their co-op partner into oblivion. The single-player campaign is a masterpiece packed with clever puzzles, hilarious writing, and one of gaming's best villains, the ever-sassy GLaDOS. But for some extra fun, you have to try out the co-op mode. Grab a friend on the couch or online and play as Atlas and Peabody, two adorable yet expendable robots. With 4 portals instead of 2, coordination is key. Although coordination often means accidentally flinging your friend into acid. Whether you're solving intricate puzzles or just messing with each other, the couch co-op experience is just pure chaotic fun. If you love smart puzzles, dark humor, and blaming your co-op partner for everything, then definitely check out Portal 2 if you haven't already. It's just so cheap right now. And then last but not least, a game that's finally on sale, it's Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not really sure I need to explain much here that you might not already know, except maybe if you didn't know it had couch co-op. But anyways, this is a Dungeons and Dragons like RPG, but just more cinematic, morally complex, and occasionally very steamy. This is for fans of deep storytelling, turn-based combat, and rolling dice for every major life decision. You wake up with a mind flayer parasite in your brain, which, fun twist, grants you dark powers, but it also means you're on a fast track to becoming a tentacled nightmare. But what you do with this unholy gift is entirely up to you. With 12 classes, 11 races, and 46 subclasses, character creation alone can eat up an entire evening. And once you're in the game, you can either go in solo or, like I said, couch co-op, which can be surprisingly so fun to play. With over 174 hours of cinematics, tons of replayability, and a cast of deeply written companions, Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the most immersive RPGs ever made, and definitely worth picking up during this sale. So what did you think? Did you find 1 or 2 games that you really like the look of? If you did, maybe leave a like and maybe subscribe to find more games to get lost in. If I left out any games, please let me know in the comment section below so other people can find them too. But other than that, it's Marco here from Easily Distracted Games, and as always, don't stop gaming.